Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email us, Team Mosso at the1916company.com for purchase, pricing, and availability questions regarding this watch. Today we are discussing the Omega Seamaster 300. This is the second generation watch launched in 2021, and previous reviews have gone over the differences between the original model launched in 2014 and the 2021 redesign. This time I'm just going to go over the obvious physical features here rather than a cross comparison to the prior models. So you're going to get everything that's here, just not a cross reference. 41 millimeters in diameter in stainless steel. It's 14.1 millimeters thick, and then from lug tip to lug tip, 48.2 millimeters across the wrist. Now, there is a little bit of an outcropping of the end links. So if you were to measure the end link across to its opposite number, you would find that it is 49.5. So that's the total distance across the wrist. It has a 21 millimeter spacing between the lugs. We'll throw this lovely steel watch on my wrist, which is 16 centimeters in circumference. Actually wears quite nicely. Now, it's not small at 41 millimeters. It doesn't wear like a vintage watch, even though vintage is the controlling thought design-wise. I would say probably down to a wrist of 15 centimeters you can wear this. You can see where the lugs are relative to the edge of my wrist. Over the top, you often ask for this angle, but I have to tell you it exaggerates the width of the watch. And then the cuff shot. And as you can see, it is not a slim, narrow dress watch, but it'll fit underneath a jacket cuff. The bracelet is inspired by historic Omega flat link designs, and you could see that the links are in fact quite flat. They're not perfectly so. We have a little bit of a taper down from the end link. We have satin finished center, polished shoulder links. Their outer faces are polished. You can see we have removable links fixed by screws on both sides. You can also see on both sides we have a intermediate sized link in case you find yourself in between link sizes. A twin trigger release, single fold deployment with very thick gauge steel. Also internally, we have about 9.6 millimeters of tool-free adjustment, but there is no full fold-out clasp for use over a wetsuit or a dry suit. This is a vintage-inspired watch, so we have no crown guards. We have very minimal lug beveling. We don't have lyre-style lugs. We have polished lug hoods, a bevel that thins out at the mid-case and expands over the end of the lugs. The lugs are very squared off. The crown is a sort of inverse conical design, broader at its outer face. The bezel has a combination of media blasted recesses with polished outer faces. The grip is actually quite good, that micro knurling, making it easy to grip when your hands might be wet, sweaty, or gloved. It is a 120 click bezel. And one of the changes from the first generation to the second is we've gone back to a anodized aluminum insert. It just gives a lovely sort of glimmering metallic shine that you can't get with most types of ceramic. We'll do a quick lume shot so you can see the scope of the luminescence on this watch. And in fact, the entire bezel is luminescent. Taking a quick look, the minute hand and the bezel pearl are green, so you can always read them relative to each other. And then we've got a luminescent lollipop style that is vintage inspired, seconds hand. I think it's important that the seconds hand be loomed on a dive watch because you need to know whether your watch is running, even if it's just your backup dive timer still. Taking a quick look at the bezel, it's easy to read the 5-minute increments, so this is a comprehensive timer. We have lovely open 9, open 6 font used, on the dial at least. And then you can see the dial is made much like a Panerai sandwich dial. So you have a stencil over the luminescent base below. This gives all of the indices and numerals depth. The same color, sort of fauxtina, off-white, is used for printing the features like Omega, the logo, and Seamaster 300. In an act of mercy, Omega kept any mention of the movement off the front of the watch. You can see all the advertising that is unnecessary. Coaxial master chronometer, it's on the back of the watch. The timepiece does feature a vintage-inspired broad arrow hour hand, and although this is a vintage-looking watch, we do have a few modern features like the independently adjustable hour hand for those who are prolific travelers. And note that the seconds hand and the minute hand are not disrupted as I change my time zone, but if I pull the crown out all the way, there is a hacking seconds function to set the watch against a reference time. It does feature a plexiglass that you can see it's dramatically cambered to give it the look, or pardon me, a sapphire. It is a sapphire, dramatically cambered to give it the look of a plexiglass. And then we roll around to the back where we have a large sapphire over the movement itself. The movement is the 8912, which is the Note 8 version of the 8900. 2 barrels, automatic winding, 60 hours of power reserve. And in addition to the hacking and the quick set function, you should know that this is a tri-level coaxial. The bridge below the balance bridge is where you can see the coaxial escapement in action. It's a double impulse direct and indirect impulse system invented by George Daniels in 1974 and industrialized by Omega under Daniels' oversight starting in 1999. The idea isn't necessarily that it's direct or indirect impulse, it's both. It's that the friction of it is a tangential type rather than the grinding, sliding type you see on a conventional Swiss lever. For shock resistance, we've got a full balance bridge and a free sprung balance. And by the way, just in case you're wondering, what are the advantages other than less friction? Well, they improve the power reserve, reduce the maintenance requirements, and upgrade the chronometric potential of the watch. And to that end, it is a master chronometer. You can see this is a twin barrel to keep the torque plateau nice and flat for most of the runtime of the watch. But the master chronometer is a METAS certification. So you might recall that the original Seamaster 300 was not. It was still a COSC chronometer. Here we have a combination of a fully cased up 6-position timing test. Winding efficiency is tested, power reserve is tested, water resistance is tested, anti-magnetism is tested up to over 15,000 Gauss, which makes this effectively amagnetic. It's got a silicon hairspring, anti-magnetic balance staff, and escapement. Technically quite impressive, all this pivoting on 38 joules, and you can see we have arabesque Côte de Genève across the bridges and rotor and a combination of polished and blackened screws. The bevels are present. They're mechanically applied, but handsome and worthwhile. And it beats away at the quirky silicon hairspring rate of 25,200 vibrations per hour that we see throughout Swatch Group brand watches made by many different companies that are using that same beat rate with silicon hairsprings. If you love this watch, reach out to Team Mosso at the 1916company.com for purchase and pricing details.